Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Today we're looking at Arqit Quantum. The big question is it a good time to buy now?
We want to hear from you. Subscribe, like, and comment to support the show. And if there's a specific company you want us to look into, leave it in the comments below.
So let's get into the analysis. We are examining Arqit Quantum, a high-growth tech stock. They're focused on that crucial emerging field of quantum-safe encryption.
Right.
And the core narrative here, it isn't just about their, theoretical technology. It's really whether their commercial execution can finally match the massive market expectations for this whole sector, really.
Yeah, this stock has certainly seen its share of, ups and downs. Before we look forward, what recent operational wins suggest they're actually starting to translate that ambitious quantum concept into real-world business progress?
Okay, so there are two key operational indicators showing some momentum. The first is a concrete commercial win. They secured a new private instance license for network secure with Fabric Networks.
Okay, Fabric Networks.
And that news, which signals, expanded enterprise adoption and validation of their platform, well, that drove a significant stock surge, 17.62% on October 2nd, 2025.
Wow. A 17% jump on just one piece of customer news? That tells you just how starved the market is for actual execution in this space.
Exactly. It really does. The second point addresses investor confidence regarding their top line. They confirmed preliminary revenue for the full fiscal year 2025. It's around $525,000 to $535,000.
Still pretty small numbers overall.
Right. The number itself is small, yes. But the forward visibility is key here. They already have deals secured that are anticipated to generate about $1.2 million in fiscal 2026.
Okay.
So that gives investors a concrete benchmark, something to watch for next year's performance.
But even with these operational wins, hasn't there been this massive legal overhang? Tell us about the class action lawsuit and why is its resolution such a, strategic win?
That's right. Yeah, the legal uncertainty has been a major cloud, a big one. On October 20, 2025, they disclosed a $7 million class action lawsuit settlement. It's still pending court approval.
$7 million, okay.
But this isn't just about the dollar figure, which is, frankly, manageable for them. The strategic importance is huge.
How so?
Well, think about it from an institutional investor's perspective. A looming class action lawsuit, that's often a hard barrier to entry, just too much uncertainty.
Makes sense. Too messy.
Exactly. So resolving it removes that legal uncertainty. It allows the market, hopefully, to shift its focus entirely toward real contract delivery, towards business execution.
Okay, that makes sense. Clearing the deck so the bigger money can feel comfortable coming in. So with those external headwinds potentially settling down, let's talk fundamentals. For a company at this stage, an early-stage quantum SaaS player, we're often looking purely at potential, right? Not current cash flow.
That's right. Potential is the name of the game here.
So what does the financial snapshot look like?
Well, the historical view is rough, as you'd expect, really. Revenue growth was actually negative in fiscal 2024, just $293,000.
Ouch. Negative growth.
Yes. However, the projected forward picture is like a complete 180. Analysts are projecting significant top-line acceleration for the current year. The consensus sales forecast for 2025 is $1.13 million.
Okay, $1.13 million.
Yeah. If they achieve that, we are looking at a nearly 288% increase year over year.
Wow, that 288% growth rate is staggering.
Yeah.
But, given their prior performance, how much faith should we really put in projections that ambitious? What's the core execution risk that underpins that number?
That is absolutely the right question to ask. The entire investment thesis hinges on converting those secured 2026 deals, that $1.2 million pipeline we mentioned, and then rapidly scaling new clients on top of that.
Right.
If they fail to execute, the stock price will suffer severely, there's no doubt. But if they do hit those targets, well, the financial leverage could be massive.
And when we look at that leverage, they must still be burning huge amounts of cash on R&D, correct? Does that projected growth translate into better margins, or are they just, spending more to get the sales?
No, it actually translates into dramatically improving margins. That's the key takeaway for a growth investor here. While margins remain highly negative, and that's standard really for early stage quantum SaaS companies pouring money into R&D.
Highly negative is an understatement sometimes.
Right. But the improvement illustrates massive operational leverage. That's the point.
Okay, help us break down those really massive negative margin numbers. I saw our projection.
Yeah.
The EBITDA margin improving from roughly negative 10,924% to negative 2,838% in 2025.
Yeah.
That sounds less like a business and more like a A giant hole in the ground.
Yeah, it looks crazy, you know. That number isn't a typo, though. It just illustrates the sheer magnitude of R&D and operational spend relative to their tiny, nascent revenue base. Think of it as a percentage loss on every dollar of revenue. When you only make, say, $300,000, but you're spending tens of millions developing satellite technology,
Yeah.
well, that percentage loss is enormous.
Right. The denominator is tiny.
Precisely. But the movement from negative 10,924% to negative 2,838% signals that their small revenue base is finally gaining some leverage. They're starting to utilize that existing infrastructure to generate sales without just exponentially increasing costs alongside it.
Got it. So it's a sign that the fixed costs, the huge development spending, are finally starting to be, well, amortized by new revenue streams coming in.
Exactly. That's the bull case on margins. And this efficiency is also reflected in the expected improvement of their net loss per share. EPS is expected to advance by nearly 70%,
Okay.
improving from negative $10.78 in 2024 to negative $3.28 projected for 2025. This signals, again, effective cost management and, crucially, a path toward break-even. Analysts are targeting fiscal year 2026 or maybe 2027 for that.
Okay, 2026 or 27 for break even. Still a ways off, but a path. Let's pivot a bit from the numbers, though.
Yeah.
Because financial projections, they rely entirely on their product being essential and unique. What's the secret sauce here? What keeps the bears away and justifies this bullish outlook? How does Arqit Quantum actually stand out from the growing competition in the encryption space?
Right. Good question. Their competitive edge, their moat, as they say, is their fundamental technology. They offer Quantum Cloud. It's a platform as a service, a PaaS, designed to deliver what they claim are unbreakable encryption keys.
Unbreakable. Big claim.
It is. But what truly differentiates them is the mechanism they use to do it.
Tell us more about that mechanism. We keep hearing this term, satellite terrestrial cryptography. How does that patented system work? And I guess, why is it potentially superior to just pure software solutions?
Okay, so most post-quantum encryption solutions you hear about, they're purely mathematical, software-defined algorithms that are theorized to resist future quantum computer attacks.
Right, theoretical.
Arqit Quantum uses a patented system that combines satellite and terrestrial components. They actually use satellites to generate and distribute genuinely random symmetric encryption keys simultaneously to two endpoints on Earth.
Okay, hold on. Why is physically generating keys via satellite better than just a really clever software algorithm? What's the advantage?
Well, it's about security fundamentals, they argue. They claim their approach provides a provable, unhackable mechanism for key generation and distribution. It aims to eliminate the mathematical vulnerabilities that even the most advanced post-quantum algorithms might face eventually as quantum computers evolve.
Ah, so it's trying to sidestep the whole algorithm arms race.
Kind of, yes. This hybrid system, physical randomness delivered across global networks, they believe positions them uniquely for those really high-value government contracts, national security infrastructure, critical commercial stuff, places where failure is just not an option.
That focus on critical infrastructure and government, yeah, that makes the execution risk potentially worthwhile, provided the technology actually holds up to scrutiny.
And if we connect this technological moat back to the investment picture, the technical analysis seems to support the optimism driven by those fundamentals we talked about. The stock price currently exhibits a very bullish structure.
Okay, quantify that momentum for us. How strong are the technical indicators right now?
They look very strong, actually. The stock is trading significantly above its key moving averages. That signals strong upward momentum. Specifically, it's well above the 50-day simple moving average at $38.02 and substantially above the 200-day simple moving average at $27.12.
Big spread between the 50 and 200 day. That's usually bullish.
It is. Furthermore, analyst price targets reflect confidence. The consensus 12-month target is around $60. That suggests over 40% upside from the recent price of $46.56.
40% upside potential.
Okay, but we also need to look at the volatility. We have to mention that. This stock's high beta. It sits at 2.35, and it's very high volatility, measured at 17.50%. That means dramatic short-term swings are well expected.
Okay, for our listener, what does a beta of 2.35 actually mean in practical terms? Break that down.
Sure. It means this stock is highly reactive to the overall market movements. So if the S&P 500 moves up 1%, you could generally expect Arqit Quantum to move up about 2.35%.
Okay. Amplified moves.
Exactly. Amplified moves both ways. Conversely, if the market tanks, this stock will likely drop more than twice as fast. So this makes it suitable mainly for investors who are comfortable with high-risk exposure and emerging tech. You need a strong stomach for volatility with this one.
Definitely not for the faint of heart, then.
Hmm.
With that high volatility in mind, what are the immediate flashpoints, the things we should be watching over the next, say, 3 months that could really move the price?
The immediate focus is definitely the Q1 2026 earnings release. That's scheduled for January 7th, 2026.
Okay, early January.
Yeah. Updated guidance on their commercial execution and, critically, progress on that $1.2 million pipeline that will be paramount. Investors will also be watching the institutional portfolio disclosure window. That's around December 10th.
Why is that date important?
Well, if big funds start adding Arqit after the lawsuit settlement news, if we see signs of institutional accumulation, that could significantly impact liquidity and sentiment, boost confidence.
Got it. Following the big money. And beyond the hard data, what is the market kind of gossiping about? What are the major rumors circulating in the background right now? Anything juicy?
Huh. Well, there is ongoing persistent speculation about potential acquisition talks, M&A buzz.
Ah, the takeover rumors. Always popular.
Yep. Analysts report that larger cybersecurity players, maybe even defense contractors, might be eyeing Arqit's proprietary quantum encryption platform for integration. Buy versus build.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, there's continuous chatter about near-term announcements, new government contracts, defense sector deals. Given their unique technology, securing a massive, sticky government deal, well, that would dramatically accelerate their top-line growth, even beyond those already ambitious projections we discussed.
A big government validation would be huge.
Absolutely huge. But let's wrap this up by just reiterating the risks, because this is still a high-stakes investment. We've covered execution risks, the cash burn, but the continuous challenge of competition in this nascent quantum sector, that cannot be overstated. The window for establishing a standard, it might be closing faster than people think.
Right. So, okay, what does this all mean when we put it all together? We've got the improving financials, the clearing of legal hurdles, the powerful technical signals, that strategic moat. What's the takeaway?
The overall investment thesis here looks strongly bullish. That's driven by analyst consensus, the technical momentum we saw, and of course the huge secular growth driver of quantum encryption itself. For you, the listener, whether you are interested in maybe short-term action around news events like that January earnings release, or perhaps long-term positioning for potentially category-defining innovation, Arqit Quantum clearly sits right at that intersection of high risk and potentially enormous high reward.
High risk, high reward, the classic tech story.
It really is. And the critical insight moving forward, I think, isn't just if they can successfully win contracts. That's table stakes now. It's whether their patented satellite terrestrial technology can truly establish the global standard for quantum cybersecurity faster than the growing competition. If they fail to really seize that first mover advantage now, well, those massive margin improvement projections for 2026 and beyond, they may never materialize.